Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the watering with an ING, the hole. Todd is still traversing the mountains of Colorado with Mike Fitz right now. I told Todd yesterday, you can always tell how somebody's hunting trip is going based on the volume of updates you get from them.
Not many.
If there have been a lot of updates, things are going well. When it's crickets, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. We've had to ask Todd a few times.
Yeah. I'm like, are you guys alive out there? How are things? And they're like, there's only one buck. Remember he told us there was 250 head? Is that what he said? Was that the terminology they used?
Yeah.
He's like, there's
I don't know.
250
A lot of head out there is what he said.
For sure. There's a lot of head.
I want to go to Colorado.
Not antelope, mule deer. But so far, he said there's only one buck worth shooting. So they've been trying to stalk the same buck a bunch of times. Todd did tell me he had him at, I think, like 68 yards the other night, and he was going to shoot, but just couldn't get a clear shot at him.
Really?
So
I remember Todd was sitting in this chair saying like 45 would be his max range.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, boys. You got to start airing it out.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling today's Tuesday?
Yeah.
They'll probably be heading back today if I had to guess. Todd said they're going to pull the plug and get back because, dude, let's face it, the timing for deer hunting right now is like absolutely epic.
It's hot.
Like we had a hot, i.e. warm start to the season, but man, since that temperature has fallen, it's not like cold, but it's like, in my opinion, it's like perfect right now.
It's like perfect for us to hunt.
Yeah, it's like 50s during the day,
not
like
freezing, not too hot.
Low 40s, high 30s at night. Like we've had a couple cold nights, but like by and large, the temperature is cool enough to be like to not suppress deer movement and make it feel like hunting season, but not like cold. So it's been awesome.
It's been phenomenal.
The deer are dropping like hotcakes. No. Dropping like flies?
They say flies, I think.
So what would hotcakes?
It'd be a shame if
something
you drop
like
your
hotcakes. Yeah, you don't want to drop your hotcakes.
Dropping like flies.
Dropping like flies is the more accurate. I was
moving like hotcakes.
They're moving like my hotcakes don't really move. I think hotcakes is definitely there's a phrase here.
Something to
We're
do
just
with the
not
hotcakes,
using it.
I don't think it's moving or dropping.
I'm pretty sure it's like they go quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
selling like
hotcakes. I mean, dude, hotcakes, they sell.
Moving is selling in a way.
I should get into the hotcake industry.
I'm big into making hotcakes, like on the weekends when I'm home with the kids.
So
I make them from scratch.
I may just be my entire life. Is that just pancakes?
Yeah, it's just a pancake.
Just making sure. That's what I thought.
Just like a different name
hotcake sounds like a fancier pancake, though, to me.
Yeah.
Coming off the griddle, the hotcake.
Hopefully all my pancakes are hot.
Like a greasy griddle, like freaking just.
Oh, yeah, a lot of butter. A lot of butter. It's the secret.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking about like griddling. Like I envy the duck blind fellas that just pop down there
they're
and just
out
griddling
there.
up making food.
Yeah, they're just having a gay old time.
I know. I love that.
In the duck blind, just like eating
Be a good time.
food, being loud, cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Here's us knuckleheads swinging off the side of a tree by ourselves in a saddle, all cold. It's windy. We got no griddle.
Eating our
we got
Christmas
no sausage.
trees and
Yeah, I had one
this year.
Yeah, I haven't had any Little Debbie's this year. I've had a couple apples now. Yeah. Honey Crisps. I've consumed a few of those. Dude, I'll tell you what, I was hunting the other weekend, or this past weekend, sitting in the blind with Jake, and I ate a Honey Crisp apple. It was cold outside. It was like in the 40s, right? And I threw it, instead of throwing it out of the blind, I don't know why I just threw it in the bottom of the blind. I don't know, it was dumb. I was whatever. Mm-hmm. Dude, the amount of ants that were on that thing within minutes was remarkable. I don't know what an ant's sensory system consists of, but it is pretty freaking impressive.
Speaking of ants, a couple weeks ago I was tracking a buck that my buddy had shot. I think it was just a long shot buck, which I don't know if this helps for the story. And on the blood, like every time there was a spot of blood, which it wasn't crazy heavy blood, but there were ants on like every single spot of blood. And I've never seen that. So,
maybe ants like blood.
Yeah, I don't know.
We could train ants to follow blood trails.
That'd be kind of cool.
We'll all start raising colonies of ants.
But I don't know. I've never seen that
Somehow
before.
You'd have to harness the ants. Get little harnesses. They get in like a line, and you follow
harness
the
like a
the
fishing
ant
line.
trail. Yeah.
Some like.
But you just let it like drag on the ground, and you just follow it like a snake through the woods, and the ants bring you to your deer.
I put a leash on my cat, took it outside in a little harness. That was it.
None of that surprises me, Brandon.
I would do it.
You and Ben, big cat guys.
Big cat guys for sure. Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, I still think like, you ever get those people send you those like dumb social media posts where it's like, add a point for every one of these things that you've done or whatever. I feel like
it's
if I was
like middle-aged moms though.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry.
I mean, Ben, that's
your
life.
Facebook demographic.
That's my world. I feel like if I made one of those things, but it was like, you all start with like 100 points of like your manliness score, and then your manliness score goes down for each one of these things you've done. Like walking a cat in a harness, like would be on that list of things that you would lose points for. And don't get me wrong,
as a cat guy, I don't disagree.
I have plenty of things that I would also lose points for. Using a loofah in the shower, I'm a big loofah guy. I'd lose a point for that. Wearing Crocs, I'd lose a point for that. 100%.
Is wearing Crocs not manly though?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Go to like Wyoming.
Sitka makes Crocs now.
I don't give a shit.
Camo
what Sitka
Crocs.
makes. Go to like Wyoming and go to like dudes that are working like in an oil field and be like, hey man, when you get off work, are you like throwing some Crocs
If we're comparing,
they're like, no, we're wearing cowboy boots like all the time, no matter what. Like that's the epic like peak of manliness. Crocs
if that's the standard,
is not the play.
We're all losing points, most of us.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
okay.
most of us,
I'm okay with it. Like
that's
you
fair,
have to be willing to lose a few man
okay.
points here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just make our own man.
Shooting a crossbow as an
Man
adult
sheet.
also would be on there.
It was a
Losing-
couple there. I don't know.
The bowhunting.com man sheet.
That's also a good way to lose subscribers. Say those comments. I'm just kidding. Relax, everybody. So anyways, let's talk about so much to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. Yeah.
Let's start with your weekend. You were in the Bucks.
I was in the
Thick,
Bucks. Very
I would
thick.
say.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Friday morning, started off pretty good. Like right at first light, I had a bunch of does come in. A couple small bucks just farting around, pushing them around, grunting. So that was pretty cool. I've been seeing a lot of grunting lately. Just
Hearing.
I've been seeing them grunt. So
Yes.
like, I've been seeing, yeah. Anyways,
You can confirm that deer is grunting.
it's been cool. It's been cool to just like see them do that stuff. And then I don't know, I'm kind of hunting this like top of the hill. And so at the bottom of the hill, I start seeing like a buck come up, and then another buck and another buck, and they kept getting bigger. And so I was really getting hyped up for the big boy, but he never came. But I was all in bucks on Friday. They were fighting, snort wheezing. Like I've never seen one make a scrape in the middle of a field.
That's when you know
cool.
they're bricked up. Out
Yeah,
there.
he was
like
pawing.
yeah,
at the
they're just pawing at the
ground,
ground. They're pissed.
so that was cool. Just got to see a lot of buck action. And then I had a couple borderline shooters. Just, I don't know.
You sent some of the videos you sent me. You mean?
Yeah.
I say good pass on all
Yeah.
those. You're not using your second tag on any of
That's
those
exactly my point. But
those are first tag bucks.
100%. Yeah, 100%. But they were all like, for me, I mean, those are at the top of like deer that I've passed in my life.
Oh yeah,
because,
for sure. They're hard deer to pass, dude.
Yeah. But I know that I was in the thick of it, and the properties that I was hunting, I had a couple really, just good mature bucks.
And that's where trail cameras, like as bad as they can be good because they have probably saved as many deer as
gosh.
they've killed.
They saved
right?
too many.
Because
deer
if you
this
know
weekend.
there's a big one out
100%.
there, you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna shoot this one because I know there's a bigger one here. Whereas if you didn't know and you're like, yeah, this might be the biggest deer out here, I'm shooting it. Like, yeah, trail cameras, the knife cuts both ways, I suppose, with the trail camera game.
That is a good way to put it. But yeah, I saw a lot of bucks. I was able to recognize a couple bucks that I saw from trail camera, which is, always cool. A couple bucks, I didn't know. So obviously that's cool too, to just see new deer moving around.
Which is, for me anymore, is kind of odd.
What, new bucks?
Yeah, to see a buck that I don't have a picture
Well,
of.
I actually saw more, I think, new bucks than I saw bucks that I knew.
I need that kind of action.
But they weren't, nothing was
They weren't
giant.
giants,
But
yeah.
again, I was able to see deer. I was able to see action. I sat Friday morning. I sat Friday evening. Didn't see anything Friday evening.
So, no deer.
No deer.
So you went from seeing like
I
two dozen of them in the morning to none in the evening?
So they were all coming out of this bottom, right? And I have a camera down in that bottom, and it's always active. And so I went and hung my saddle down there. Didn't see a deer. I did kick out a buck when I was walking in. Maybe kicked out more deer, but Friday evening didn't see anything.
That's the hard part, though, because I remember looking at the map of that place, and it's like when you have those small little like strips of timber like that, you almost can't, like in an evening, like you're going to blow everything out. There's no way to get in there without blowing. Whatever's in there is getting blown out, so now you're just counting on deer from somewhere else to come into that bottom at night. But why would they come in there at night, right? They're probably going out to feed somewhere.
What I did was I accessed from the house side what you were telling me, because the wind was going up towards that. And I parked, and I know you'd know more than the viewers would know, obviously, but I parked on the west side, and I walked down in that cornfield. Well, the grass that they had between the cornfield and the fence was super tall, made a lot of noise, and I tried to walk in the cornfield. It's very
That's even
crunchy.
Worse.
So I opted to the grass, but up on that like ridge, because I was telling you it was a really steep ridge. That's where I kicked that buck up, and it ran all the way with me down the ridge. And when I got into that, that finger that I was in, I ended up seeing him in the finger, like a couple hundred yards away. So he was almost just like, moving with me.
Right.
And I ended up seeing his tail, flick and run away. But
yeah, going through standing corn is hard, especially on a night where you're like packing gear in to do a hanging out.
I had a lot.
I feel like if it's just you and a bow, it's a little bit easier to kind of sneak through there. But the minute you got like a backpack with a bunch of stuff strapped on it, my God, it seems like it catches on every freaking corn stalk.
I caught on everything. I had to go over a fence or under a fence. I forget which one I did.
And it was really silent.
It was.
Friday.
Yeah.
Was it that way by you?
Yeah, it was very quiet. Yeah. So whatever. I couldn't find the greatest tree, but I wouldn't say that was my issue. I saw a lot of rubs. I saw a lot of scrapes.
I think that's the kind of place where you want to just dive back in there in the morning.
Yeah.
Get in there real early. Like you got a tree picked out now.
Another thing,
just jump back in that same tree.
I left my tether up in the tree. But I've just been using my lineman's as the tether for the time being. But
yeah, I mean the only bitch about that is like
I don't have my lineman's.
There's a period of time where you're not strapped to the tree.
Well, I know, right? And that's unfortunate.
The thing you can do, dude, is
I'll be back down there.
Dude, you can take like a lifeline and use that as your tether. You can cut it short and use it as a tether. I've done that before. Actually, I've had a couple trees that like I used to tree stand hunt out of, and I left the lifelines in them when I took everything down because I wasn't going to tree stand. I moved the stand somewhere else, and I've actually gone back and saddle hunted them and just used the lifeline as my tether. So like I put my sticks and everything with my lineman's belt, and I get up there, and when it's time for me to like figure out my position, I just clip into the Prusik knot on the lifeline and use that because it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
There's no difference. Just a rope's a rope, right? So you could always do that. But yeah, that sucks.
I pulled everything down.
And then you look up and
I went to saddle hunt the next day. And I looked in my packs and I'm like, obviously it didn't fall out of my packs because, I have the pouches on both sides and I zip them up. I promise I zip them up. But it's definitely in the tree. I'll definitely be back.
Yeah, that sucks.
In a couple weeks. So
I'm usually guilty of leaving some sort of like hook or hanger up there. I don't know how many bow hooks and bow hangers I
managed to get all those
in trees.
I know I got all those.
I start the year with those. I love those hawk screw-in hooks that have like the little keepers. Mm-hmm. And dude, I'll start the year with 2 of them hanging on my backpack, 1 on my bino harness, and within 2 weeks, like they're all gone. I don't even know where I left them at. I was like, I haven't even hunted that many trees.
How many trees have I hunted? Right.
Like, what is happening here? So, yeah, Friday was one of those days that was like 0 wind.
Yeah, Friday morning was nothing. I had 2 mile an hour east winds, but all the deer came from the east, but it didn't matter because it's not like.
Yeah, and then the mornings, for me anyways, once it gets light and those thermals are rising with your scent, like I feel like you can get away with a little more. The evenings stink because I feel like, literally stink, because I feel like your scent just comes down and just pools all around your stand. And those are the evenings where I always feel like no matter what direction the deer comes from, it smells me. On those like completely windless evenings when the temperatures really start to fall, like right after that sun goes down and you can like feel that chill in the air, it's like, dude, forget about it. So we are in the midst of an east wind epidemic, and this week it's been like,
it was horrible.
I don't know, 5 days of east winds.
was not the wind. That was not the ideal wind.
Yeah, I think it changes on Thursday. It looks like it goes to a northwest, and then it's kind of northwest for a few days, which is I think
for the weekend.
I think for most people that's like I set up most of my stands for some sort of westerly wind, whether it's north or south. Most of my stands work on usually I'll have like a preferred, like it's better on a southwest, but I can get away with it on a northwest type of thing.
Yeah, I don't really set stands for wind, but I sit stands for wind. If that like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
I'm not like, oh, I'm setting the stand solely for like a north wind. You know what I'm saying? Because I have stands that I guess that I could get away with like maybe 2-ish directions of wind max.
See,
I don't know. Maybe it's just me being naive.
Well, I find my location where I want to be. Right. And let's just say it's like the convergence of a couple trails or something like that, or some sort of pinch point or coming through a fence or into a field or whatever. And I will 100% try to figure out what my access is going to be to get in here, first of all, because that's going to play a big role in like my preferred wind for hunting that stand. So like sometimes you don't have a choice because like as an example, at my lease, I have one access point. I have to access everything from the north coming in. I don't have access from east or west or the south. It's like I'm coming in from the north, whether I like it or not, right? But if you have the opportunity to maybe access a spot from multiple directions, I always like to figure, okay, how am I getting into it? Because then that's going to predict like my dominant wind. If I'm south heading north into my stand, well, then I want to hunt it on north wind. Right. So then let's say it's a trail that runs east and west. Well, I want to be on the south side of it so I never have to cross it and then my wind's not blowing. So I try to play all those scenarios in my head. Like it doesn't always work. And then sometimes it's like you put a stand up where you're like in your brain, you're like, I'm going to come from here and go there. And this is what the deer are going to do. And then the deer
they come from
downwind of you. And you're like, well, that didn't work as expected.
Yeah.
So I will say with this, this wind or lack thereof on Friday was so I took my Ozonics unit with me on Friday evening. And I was like, I don't use it a lot. And I can't say that I've ever been using it in a situation where I know for 100%, like I had a deer downwind of me. Like I've run it a bunch of times and maybe it helped and maybe it didn't. But I was like, dude, it is so still and quiet tonight. I'm going to bring this thing. I'm going to run it right over my head. And my idea was like, if the scent is pooling up kind of like right around me, that the ozone would be also pooling up, right? Because ozone is heavier than air, so it falls. So I'm sitting in this stand. I saw a decent like 2.5-year-old buck. And what's weird on these nights where you have no wind is like occasionally you're never going to have no wind the whole night. Occasionally you get a little breeze, right? And it's like, you get a little breeze and one time it's going that way. And then the next time it's going this way. And then the next time it's going that way. It's like it's directionless. So I remember feeling a little bit on the back of my neck and I could see like little floaty things in the air, and they were kind of generally like going in front of me. And I was like, well, that sucks because that's what I'm hunting, right? So I have this nice 2-year-old 10-pointer. He comes out, he starts coming straight downwind. Right, and he's like 30 yards coming right at me, and I'm just filming him. And all of a sudden, he's like, what is that, right? But I got the Ozonics running. So he kind of like looks, and he's like, something's not right. And then he kind of moves. Like instead of coming straight, he kind of starts angling. Then he's like, I don't like this. And then he goes back, and he kind of just like walks out to like 60, 75 yards, and he just stands there and looks and looks and looks. Never spooked, never blew, never did anything. But he was like, I don't like this. And then he kind of just meandered off, right? So I was like, okay. Whatever. Well, maybe half hour before dark, I look and I got this, here comes this doe and fawn. And they come from my right. And now at this point, I've been dropping some milkweed. And the milkweed's literally going straight down my tree. And then it's kind of veering to my left-hand side. Like, because there's not much topography, but there's a little hole down there. So I'm like, okay, my scent is just pooling up in this hole right here, right? So she comes straight in front of me. And I'm in this little cottonwood tree, dude. And there's no cover, there's no leaves. Like I'm literally on the side of like a power pole is what it looks like. So she kind of gets a little bit spooky. I don't think she saw me or anything, but she was just nervous the whole time, right? But what she does, she comes around and she gets right down into that scent pool where I know for a fact, like my scent is going right there. And dude, I've never seen anything like this. This doe could not figure out what was going on. She went back and forth, like almost pacing, within 20 yards of me. I mean, she'd come to like 12 yards and go out to 15 or 17. And every time I thought she was going to leave, she'd stop and turn around and come back the other way and stop. And she's doing that nose up in the air, nose up in the air. And dude, she probably did it for, I know it always seems like forever, but it was probably 5 minutes. She probably went back and forth 20 times. I could have shot her at any point in time. Like, dude, she was right underneath me. I could have killed her. But it was really cool to see, because again, I'd never been in a position to see if the ozone was actually like doing anything. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, dude, I could kill this. Like, she may be a little freaky. Like, she doesn't know what's happening right now, but like, I could kill her at any point in time. Like, she wasn't looking up at me. She's looking that way. Like, she knew something was going on. She just couldn't quite put her nose on it, so to speak. So it was kind of cool. Eventually she left. Yeah. But I was like, man, that was like my first real experience running the ozone machine, where I was like, okay, if that was a buck, I would have killed him. Yeah. So I don't know, it's pretty neat. And then so that was Friday. Saturday was the disaster day of all disasters. I took the boys hunting out to our lease, and we're driving out to the lease, and I'm like, boys, it's Saturday afternoon, right? We have stuff to do on Sunday. First, and let me say this. Before I decided to drive out there, I literally thought to myself, we should just stay and hunt close to home in case somebody makes a bad shot. Because if somebody makes a bad shot tonight, like, there's no tomorrow. Like, I told the kids, like, there is no tomorrow. Like, the boys both had football games. I was coaching a football game. We had Jake's birthday party, and we're 2.5 hours from home. Like, we can't stay here tonight. Like, whatever. So I get this text from Joey, and it just says, Dad. That's literally the only word. It just says Dad. And I was like, all right, first of all, he never says that, and I literally was like, oh my God. Like, I looked at the word Dad, and I was like, oh, no, let me say this. So let me just back up a little bit.
You're with Jake right now too, right?
I'm with Jake in the blind. And Joey, he's like, hey, there's a bunch of does coming like close. This is like a half hour earlier. So I got some does out here. And I was like, we're not shooting does tonight. And he's like, come on. He's like, I want to shoot one. I don't get to hunt a lot. He's like, let me just shoot one of these things. Keep in mind, he's only shot one deer with his compound. He's all by himself. This is like the real deal. So I was like, fine. I knew the stand he was in. I put him in it. And I was like, they have to be within 15 yards. 15 yards and in, and you can shoot a doe. And he's like, okay, deal. So I get the text, Dad. I'm like, oh my God, what? And he's like, I just shot a doe. He's like, but I hit her a little back. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, well, like mid-body, like back. And I was like, okay, well, what did she do after you shot her? He's like, she just ran like 20 yards and she stood there for like a couple minutes. I was like, well, could you shoot her again? He's like, yeah, I knocked an arrow. And he's like, I could have, but she was facing straight away from me. I just didn't have a shot. And I'm thinking like, dude, just let one rip at that point. But like, I'm not going to tell him that. Yeah. So I'm like, he's like, eventually she just kind of walked off into the brush behind me. I'm like, okay. So now I'm going, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Right. It's 6 o'clock. I'm like, this deer needs until tomorrow. Like, I can't, there's nothing I can do. And I was like, I can't just leave her, So I'm like, oh, I'm like playing all these scenarios in my head. Like 2.5 hours from home. What time do I have to absolutely be home tomorrow? Like all this stuff. Then I get the text. He's like, hey, the Big 10 is out in the field and he's coming my direction. It's like a 160-inch 10-pointer. He's like, he's out in the field. I can see him. And he's coming my direction. He's like, what should I do? I was like, well, you better knock an arrow is what you better do. And so then he's like, okay, he's just out in the field feeding and chasing does around. He's like, but there's another buck that just showed up and he's close. And I think it might be a shooter. And I was like, oh, I literally just said, okay. And he like sends me a picture and the pic of the buck. And it's like, it's getting dark. So it's like, it's blurry. It's one of those like, how with the iPhone, you go to take a picture when it's like dark and it wants to like freeze for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like 1, 2, 3. Well, the deer was like moving. So I could see a rack. I could tell it wasn't a giant, but like, I was like, okay. Then I don't hear anything. Then just all communication ceases. And then I get another text. He's like, I don't know, something like, oh my God, I just made like another bad shot. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm sitting in the blind thinking like, this is literally my worst absolute nightmare. This is the situation that I did not want to have happen. Right. So I'm like, oh my God. I was like, well, where was he when you shot him? And he's like, so the doe was 7 yards away when he shot her, literally right there. The buck was maybe 12, like close quarters, both of them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, where was the buck when you shot him? He was standing in the corn. I'm like, well, what did he do? He's like, he jumped and he ran down the end of the field, and then I couldn't see him anymore. I'm like, all right. I'm like, wait until it's dark. It was like 15 minutes till end of legal shooting light. I was like, Jake and I are going to sit here until dark. We'll get out of the blind. I was like, get down once it's dark, grab both of your arrows, and come back. We'll meet you at the truck. So Jake and I get back to the truck. We're putting all our stuff away. Joey shows up and he's like, the buck I think is dead. Like, I think it's an okay shot. He's like, the doe, the arrow smells awful, like make you want to
found both?
Vomit. Yeah, both arrows were total pass-throughs. Nice. Yep. And so the buck arrow was coated in blood, end to end. And there was blood on the ground. Like, he took a picture of it on the ground before he picked it up. And there was decent blood on the ground. So I was like, all right, like, okay. I was like, well, where did you hit him? And he's like, I hit him behind the shoulder, but low. And I'm like, okay. And I'm smelling the arrow. And I was like, it didn't smell like guts, but it didn't smell right. If that's like, I was like, what is this? Like, what am I dealing with here? And I kept asking him, where did you shoot the thing? And he's like, I hit it low right behind the shoulder. I was like, well, right behind the shoulder, if you hit it low, it's just brisket. There's nothing there. I was like, if you hit it high enough, like, then it's, lungs or heart. And this is definitely not lungs or heart, but it's coated in blood. But it had it didn't have a gut smell, but I was like, God, maybe you just had to have hit it in the liver. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do? So now it's like an hour after he shot the deer. And I was like, all right, I'm texting my wife. I'm telling her, like, I got to come back here in the morning. She's pissed, dude. She's like, oh my God, what are you doing? So we go out to the scene of the crime. And I'm like, we're not even going to bother looking for anything for the doe.
Scene of the crime.
We're going to I'm like, I want to see what this blood looks like for this buck. So we get out. He knows he ran right down the edge of the cornfield. And I was like, well, he probably ran down the edge of the corn and went into the trail at the end. It's about 100 yards. I'm like, let's see what this blood looks like, and we'll make a decision what we're going to do from there. So we have blood. We track it to the edge of the field, and he runs into the timber like I thought. And I was like, all right, well, like this is it. Like, we're stopping here. We're going to go.
Blood or no?
It was drops, drop. It was a lot of like mud and dirt, so it was kind of hard to pick up. But it wasn't great. It wasn't good blood. So that's why I was like, all right, we're not going any further, right? So we're on like an inside corner of a field. So I look with my flashlight down the trail that he ran. And dude, I'm telling you, from here to Brando, there's a big pool of blood, like where he stood, right? I could tell it wasn't a bed, but I could see with my flashlight, right? It's less than 5 yards off the edge of the field. And we're like whispering and stuff. So I tell the boys, I'm like, stay here. I'm just going to go look at that blood. I want to see what that looks like, because that was the best blood we had. I'm like, I want to see if there's any bubbles in it or anything, right? Dude, I take 4 steps and this deer jumps up and I hear it crash down the hill, right? I never saw it, but I heard it, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, I knew, like, I was going to leave.
Could have been dead right
like,
there.
We were going to leave. And we didn't. I was like, I just want to look at that blood to get an idea of, not that it mattered. Like, I don't know why, but I saw it and I wanted to look at it. And I figured, what's the harm in going 5 steps inside the woods? So I hear a deer crash down. I'm assuming it's the deer, right? I mean, why would it be any other deer? So I'm like, son of a bitch. So back to the truck, get home. We get home. By the time we get like packed up, get some food, get home, it's like 10:15.
Late.
It's late. I then have to help my wife clean up the house, get everything ready for this birthday party the next day, et cetera, et cetera. I have to text all of my fellow football coaches and be like, guys, there's no way I'm going to be at this game tomorrow. Like, you're just going to have to go up without me. Like, there's no way I can make it. I was like, it doesn't get light until 7 a.m. Like, I can't even start looking until 7 o'clock. Like, best case scenario, I find the buck quickly, but then, like, I got this doe to go look for. Like, there's no way I'm getting both of these deer recovered in my truck and on the road by 9 a.m., like 2 hours. And even if I knew where they were at, I couldn't do it in 2 hours. So I'm like, sorry, guys. It was the last game of the year, so I felt terrible. Like all the parents had like gifts for the coaches, and I'm just like, guys, I'm not going to be there. So I drive back out in the morning. As I'm driving out there, I'm thinking like, man, we should probably just get a dog. Like, why not? Right? Like, so let me say this. First, the night before, I was trying to get somebody with a drone to come. I was like, I got two deer. Like, let's just get a drone out here to find them. And in Illinois, it hasn't been challenged in court yet, right? But our laws say that you can't hunt with a drone or something, or with electronics or something along those lines, right? But it doesn't say you can't recover an animal with use of a drone, right? The DNR has come out and made a statement that like you can't use drones. But I've always said this, and so is everybody else, is like it's not up to the enforcement agency to interpret the law, right? It is up to a judge. Judges interpret laws, and then the enforcement agencies enforce them. And it's never been challenged in court, right? There is legislation out there to fully legalize it, but like all things government-wise, it's just taking forever to get approved. It was introduced in the spring, and it just hasn't been approved yet. So I talked to 2 guys with drones, and they were like, look, man, like I would love to come help you. This is the perfect scenario. They're like, but it's just, we can't do it in Illinois yet, And I was like, dude, I totally get it. I was like, I've heard stories of drone operators working in Illinois and not having any issues, but who wants to be the guy that like gets in trouble for that, right? So I was like, fine, whatever. Nobody wants to come be an outlaw with me. Because I was like, somebody just needs to challenge it in court. Like the way our law is written it's very vague and gray area, right? So anyways, I was like, fine, let's try to get a dog instead. It's like 5 a.m, dude. I'm driving out super early so I can get there by 7. I want to be there at first light. So I was given a phone number of a dog tracker a couple weeks back, and I was like, well, let me text her. So it was like 6 a.m. I sent her a text. I'm like, hey, sorry for the early text, but like this is what I got going on.
Where's she based out of?
She's out of like Platteville, Wisconsin. So about an hour north of where we're at in Northwest Illinois. So I pull in the farm at 7 a.m. My buddy Dan met me there to come help track. And she calls and she's like, hey, yeah, I can definitely come out, but it's going to be a little while before I get there. So we're like, all right. So we wait. She shows up.
What time did she get there?
9:15, something like that. So
what did you guys do in the meantime?
Nothing. What are you supposed to do? Like we didn't want to go. We didn't want to go on the track, right? So I was like, I mean, we're just going to screw it up if we go look at this point. So I was like, well, I probably didn't have to get up so early, right? But like I didn't know. This literally happened on the drive out there. So she comes out, and we get on the track of the buck first. And as it turns out, like the dog found the deer. Probably didn't need the dog in hindsight. Like we had enough blood, and he didn't go very far. When we bumped him up, he ran down this hill and right up the other side of the ravine, and then bedded. And there was several beds there where he expired overnight. So like we would have found that deer 100%.
From where you kicked him up?
60 yards maybe, something like that. It wasn't very far, but what he did is he went down the steepest ditch on the property and died on the other side of it. Like they
like to do that.
An absolute nightmare getting that deer out. So we found that deer, tagged it, and just left it there, and went to go look for the doe. Dude, the doe, it's like aliens abducted her. We didn't find a speck of hair. We didn't find a speck of blood. We found nothing. Like I climbed up Joey stayed home, obviously, because he had a football game. So I climbed up in the stand. I took a picture and I sent it to him. I was like, where was she standing? And he like circled. She was standing right here. We had 4 of us there with the dog looking. We couldn't find a speck of nothing. The dog couldn't find the track. Like eventually, with the way that the wind was blowing, the dog, was working us through the woods, and then it started smelling the other deer that it had already found because that scent was coming down. So it starts leading us that way, and it's like, oh crap. So we went back, and dude, we tried. We looked for a couple hours for that doe, but dude, that property is gotten so thick you can't even walk through it. It's so bad with multiflora rose and honeysuckle, and you can't see 5 feet in any direction. And we walked, and the dog actually found another dead deer on the property.
Really?
It was
like fresh.
It was like the carcass of a fawn. I don't know what killed it. Yeah. It was fresh enough to where it was like bones, but the meat was still like reddish colored, right? But it'd been there for a little while. So the dog found that, like it body scented it and led us right to it. It's just the wrong deer, you know? So the doe dude, I have no idea. Literally don't know.
So do you because I've never used a dog, would you just, I don't know, because you couldn't find any blood, do you give it the smell of the arrow or something?
So the dog, my understanding is that the dog doesn't actually track blood. It tracks the scent that's being laid down by the interdigital gland in the hoof of the deer. Now there is other scent that's coming usually out of the wound, right? So it would be the blood or other matter. So there is usually other scents accompanying it, but that's not the main thing that it goes off of is blood. Because I mean, if it went off blood, you could just follow the blood trail. The dog's there for like when you lose the blood trail, there is no blood trail. So yeah, I have no idea. Like there's no doubt he hit the thing. The arrow smells awful, like make you want to vomit when you smell it. It's so bad. Yeah. So I don't know, man. You know, the crazy thing is I had given him my 360 camera before he went out that night. And I was like, dude, I gave him my little hawk screw-in mount because I knew I was going to a blind with Jake. I was like, I don't really need the 360 cam in the blind. I was like, take this, screw it over your head. I gave him a battery pack. I said, plug it in, turn it on, and freaking don't touch it, right? The whole rest of the night. So he did. The doe that he shot, he mounted it like back here. The doe was on this side. So like when he comes to full draw, the doe walks, and then it's just his back is all I can see when he shoots. But what I can tell is he goes, man, whack. Like it was right away. Instant. You know, I was like, dude, you got to slow down, which I get it. We all do it. And same thing on the buck. The buck came down the cornfield and it's the perfect over the shoulder freaking
the angle though?
Oh my God. Yeah, I got everything. And it was getting dark like for the camera. But you could see everything. And it's lighted Nox. Yeah. He had either my D-Powers or my Kjalps, whatever I had left over from the test we did. I just gave him those to use. And dude, zipped. And he said he shot it low right behind the shoulder. Yeah. Dude, he shot it perfectly mid-body. It went in at the very last rib, went through liver and came out guts on the other side. So we got home and it was like 10:45. I was like, I'm going to check and see if there's anything on this 360 camera. And I looked at it and I look at him, I was like, what is this? Like, this is not what he's like, oh, yeah, I guess that is where I hit him. I'm like, yeah, well, no shit, it's where you hit him. But it's just so funny to me. And we've talked about this so many times over the years of like what you see in
how we think it is.
Yeah, what you really think it is. And then, dude, I've been that way myself where I think I put a certain shot on a deer and then I go watch the footage. Or you recover the animal and you're like, is that where I hit it? Dude, my buddy Mike killed that 10-year-old buck we've been talking about. Mike killed him last night. And I was like, is he dead? He's like, yeah, he ran out in the field and he stood there for like 10 minutes and then fell over and started kicking and he's dead. I was like, well, where'd you hit him? He's like, oh, I smoked him. I was like, well, if you smoked him, he wouldn't have stood there for 10 minutes, right? Like he would have stood there for 10 seconds. And he's like, I swear. And no, it wasn't a bad shot. It came in like, it was quartering away. It came in at like the second rib, center punch through his liver and hit the offside lung and came out behind the shoulder on the other side. So it wasn't a terrible shot by any means. But it is so funny, like what you think you did. So anyways, recovered Joey's deer. Much love to my buddy Dan who came and helped because it was a day from hell. It was the drag from hell. It was so bad. Like the washout in the ravine was so steep we had to get across. Like we got a lifeline out of my truck. I gutted the deer, which, oh my God, gutting out a gut shot deer that's been laying all night is one of the worst things in the world. My God, it smelled so bad. The whole deer just smelled, dude. The meat kind of smells like I threw a bunch of the meat away that just was not. I was like, dude, it didn't look. It wasn't spoiled, but it smelled like guts. I was like, who wants to eat this? It literally smells like guts. So like the fronts were all good, back straps were good, neck meat was all good, but like the inner loins, oh my God. They smelled so bad.
It's a shame.
I was like, I'm not even feeding these things to my dog. So anyways, we drug it down this ravine. And then to get it up the other side, we tied a lifeline. So a lifeline's 30 feet, right? Tied a lifeline to its rack, went up to the nearest tree and around the tree. And Dan was holding the rope. And I got down. And dude, I would just yank this deer 6 inches. And he'd pull on the rope and hold it. Otherwise, the deer was going to slide back down. Dude, I don't know how long that took us to just inch that deer up out of that bottom. But I was so pissed off. I was like, I'm going to murder my child. And I was mad at myself because if we wouldn't have bumped that deer, he would have been dead
on top of the hill or
40 yards off the field edge, and he wouldn't have went down and up the other side. So part of it was my fault, but got him home. I threw him on a scale before I caped him out and butchered him out, and he was 200 pounds field dressed. That's a big deer. Like, it was probably 230. Dude, I thought he was a 2-year-old, like, based on the rack size, but, like, based on his body size. And Dan even said when we found him, like, he's like, look how big his hooves are. He had just big hooves. So I don't know. Maybe he was a scrubby 3-year-old. Hard to say, but I mean, 200 pounds field dress was an awfully big deer, dude.
It's a really big
I was like, no wonder I had such a hard time dragging this frick up the hill. So, anywho, that was my disaster. I made it home in time for the birthday party.
There you go.
Crisis averted there. And then I hung the deer up in my backyard and all my family, and loved to just enjoying the party. And they looked outside and there's just a carcass hanging there, but whatever. So that was that. As I was saying, my buddy Mike Willand killed last night, finally, the 10-year-old buck, which aptly was named the Willand Buck. We named it after Mike. I did years ago when he was a 2-year-old, which is when we first started kind of keeping track of him. The reason was that early in that season, like in October, every time Mike went hunting, he would see that deer.
As a 2-year-old?
As a 2-year-old. No matter where he went on the farm, he would go hunting and he would be like, dude, I saw that 2-year-old again. I saw him again. I saw him again. Like, oh my God, how many times am I going to see this deer? He's like, he's following me around.
He's asking to die.
So we aptly named him the Willand Buck all those years ago. Mike had 11 sheds off of that one deer, which is pretty freaking amazing. 11 sheds off of that deer. We've had countless encounters. Like, that deer's been on Bowhunt or Die so many times. Like, I've had encounters with him. That was the deer that was in front of me when I dropped my bow out of the tree stand that one year. So he was the deer that was in front of me that night. I almost killed him so many times. Mike actually shot him 2 years ago and didn't kill him. Backstrapped him and hit him high as an 8-year-old, and he lived. Just a pretty incredible
legendary buck
story. Yeah, we were standing there last night just looking at him in the field, just thinking like it's gonna be weird, like to not like that deer is older than my youngest child.
Say, he's older than
Jake.
It's crazy.
So, and he was enormous. Like, obviously his rack peaked at like I think 4 or 5, and that deer was never more than mid-30s at best. Never got any bigger than that, and he'd been getting smaller every year. I think 5 was maybe his biggest rack. 4 and 5 were pretty close, and he's been getting smaller every year since then. So now he was just a big fork, like basically just from the side he looked like a spike, and then when he looked at you, he had brow tines.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But it just the length of that deer, like when I walked up to him in the field, I was like, "Good God,
it's like
he's
cow.
Just enormous."
Did you weigh him?
No, I mean, we didn't weigh him. Mike doesn't have like a setup to weigh him at home, and he took him to the processor this morning, and they don't have a scale. What kind of processor doesn't have a scale?
You know,
I was
where
like,
he took it?
Yeah,
we can out him.
No, because I like those guys. They do a great job.
Oh, is that? Okay.
He took him over to the smokehouse in Rockford.
I was gonna say,
and dude, I love those guys. They do a great job.
Surprised they don't have a scale though.
Yeah, they don't have a scale, which I thought they should get a scale. For the amount of money we pay for deer processing, you could afford a scale. You could afford a lot of scales. But yeah, so the legend of the Willand Buck finally comes to an end. I felt it was kind of fitting that Mike killed him.
100%.
Like, we named the deer after him, so it kind of makes sense. You know, I had that deer within bow range probably a half a dozen times, I think, over the years, and could never get a shot at him. Mike actually passed him one year as a 4-year-old because he was tagged out. He had already shot 2 bucks that year, and he was just trying to get a doe, like in late November, early December. Dude, he had him feeding in front of him. That was probably one of his bigger rack years. I remember him like sending me pictures from his cell phone. Like, dude, he's literally right, just feeding in front of me. So I don't know, kind of a cool story.
It's definitely going to be a void on the property.
I hope. We've been saying for a while, like, he's always been the biggest bodied, like most mature, most dominant buck on the farm. I'm hoping that now that he's dead, maybe something else will move in, because we've had a severe lack of like mature deer on that farm the last couple of years. A lot of up and coming youngsters, but yeah, maybe he was just running them all off. So I don't know. So R.I.P. Willand Buck.
R.I.P. the Willand Buck.
He's dead.
A giant
10-year-old deer. Like, it's just crazy because like I doubt we ever have that happen again.
Well, like 10-year-old
just
buck
have
in general.
I mean, yeah, to have a 10-year-old buck, but to have like trail camera pictures, encounters, sheds, video clips of me getting close to him, like that's a story that like will never happen.
The sheds
again.
are just so. I mean, the fact that he stayed on your piece and dropped them there, and Mike found them year after year.
Yeah, 11 sheds, and there's a 12th out there. We know the guy that has it.
Yeah.
What was funny is he's like
the farmer or something.
Yeah. Mike was literally at his truck putting his boots on to go shed hunting, and the farmer was driving his tractor down the road, or one of the guys that works on the farm was driving the tractor down the road, and he stopped the tractor in the road like 60, 80 yards in front of where Mike was at. And he jumped out and went in the woods and picked up the shed. And Mike went down there, and the guy's like, "Hey, check this antler I found." And Mike's like, "Oh, I know that deer. That's the antler I'm looking for." So anyways, of the 11, he had 8 lefts and 3 rights, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't know, just interesting. He found all the left sides. Yeah. Like where the hell are all these rights at?
8 years of sheds.
Yeah, pretty cool. Ever since I think as a 2-year-old was the first sheds we got off him, which is really the first pictures. Like I try to save trail camera pictures of like 2-year-olds, at least a couple of them, like 1 or 2 pictures of every 2-year-old on the farm. I try to save like in my Google Drive, just in case they end up being 3 and 4 and 5. So I have those pictures to reference, you know? So I saved my first pictures of him as a 2-year-old, and then we had him basically ever since.
I've started to save my pictures and just try to match some deer year after year.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, it is 100%.
It is crazy to see how some of them change from year to year. There's times where I get pictures of them, and it takes me a little bit to piece together, like what deer is that I'm looking at. I feel like that 2 to 3 is one of the harder times to figure out. It seems like once they go like 3 to 4 and then 4 to, they kind of have a frame,
100% the frame,
characteristics, and they don't change a whole lot. But when they're younger, I guess they're kind of like human babies, right? They change a lot when they're younger, and then once they really start to mature, then they kind of get that form where it's the same every year.
Yeah, I have rack blindness. I don't see rack.
Dude, you just like you've been editing hunting videos for how long?
Oh, I've been here since 2011.
So almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And you still can't tell one deer from the next.
if they're within like 20 inches of each other, like it's pretty much
not even the inches.
Yeah.
It's just the,
just like I'm just the
like
only
the
cage
characteristics. Yeah. Brandon,
yeah.
like I can't tell you how many like videos we've reviewed that you've edited where it's like guy shoots a buck and he's like, "Yeah, I got trail camera pictures of what," and we start showing the pictures. I'm like, "That's the wrong deer, Brandon." And you're like, they all look the same to me.
I'll show my dad, who's been hunting for, way longer than I have. But again, he doesn't have trail cams, or he's never looked at trail cam stuff. But I'll be like, "Yeah, look at this buck." And like, this was him last year. He's like, "Are you sure that's the same buck?" And
yeah,
like I am 100% sure. Well, I guess can't be 100% sure, but
sometimes you can be. I feel like you can be 100% sure.
There's the times that I do show him. I'm like, "Hey, this is him last year, and this is him now." He's like, "You sure about that?" It's like, I am.
Yeah,
but
I argue. So you ever argue with your friends about like
is it the same buck or not?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
all the time. Me and Tommy fight about this a lot.
I'm like, "Are you guys dumb?"
But Tommy and I argue about that a lot. I'm actually arguing with Dustin right now about that big 3-year-old. Dustin doesn't believe that deer's a 3-year-old, the one I showed you this morning.
You have proof.
I was like, look at his body. He's a baby. Like he's got no shoulders. He's got no neck. Like he is a baby.
You don't grow him like that out there.
Yeah. And I was like, here's a picture from last year. Now tell me this deer like isn't. So we have a deer, and this is a dilemma, right? We have a deer that showed up yesterday. It was my first trail camera pictures of him. Last year, I believe, I could be wrong. Let me just say, last year, I believe he was a stud 2-year-old. I remember I got pictures of this deer. I don't think I saw him. And I was like, this deer's got the genetics. Like sometimes you can just tell. And they don't always blow up. Sometimes deer you think are going to blow up don't blow up. But this one, I was like, this is the one we got to keep our eye on. And I've been waiting. I haven't gotten any pictures of him. I was like, God, where did this deer go? Last night we have a deer show up. And I get pictures and I'm like, holy shit, this is a big deer. And then, because the first thing you look at is the rack, right? Obviously. I'm like, holy shit. And I'm thinking there's another 10-pointer that's MIA, right? That my first thought was, oh shit, here he is. He's finally back.
Yeah.
And I start looking at the body and I was like, dude, the 10-pointer I'm looking for last year looked like a steer. Huge body.
4, 5, 6, whatever.
Yeah. This deer, I'm like, dude, he's a baby. And I start looking at the rack and I'm like, this has got to be that young deer from last year. And I start comparing, and Mike found the sheds, and he went home last night and got the sheds. And
crazy, Mike has the sheds.
Dude, Mike and Tommy are my shed dogs.
Them boys. Them boys.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, this is him. So the dilemma now becomes, there's no mature deer on that farm now that Mike has killed the Willand Buck that we are aware of. He was the only mature buck, i.e. buck older than 3.
I was gonna say what's mature, but yeah.
For me, older than 3.
Yep.
Right? So we have no confirmed photos, sightings, anything of anything older than 3 years old. So we have a bunch of 2s and 3s and then a 10, right? Nothing in the middle, which is what I'm hoping to look for. So this deer shows up, and he could be 160 he's an 11 point. He's a 5x6. Like, he is a big deer, long tines, really good mass. And so, like, I don't really have any reason to go hunt that farm because I don't know of any mature bucks there. So my thought process here is like, unless I get confirmation that there is a mature buck that I would like to shoot, I'm probably going to avoid even hunting there. I'll hunt my other farms. The question becomes, what if, let's just say I wake up tomorrow and I get a picture of a mature buck on that farm, right? And I'm like, okay, sweet. The other 10-pointer, he's back. I'm going to go out there. And this deer walks in front of me.
It's a you question. What if?
I'm shooting him. I already apologized to Michael in advance and everybody else in the area. Mike. I'm not going to target the deer.
Right.
And I'm hoping to just avoid hunting there. So maybe he can just run amok during the rut and spread his genetics everywhere.
Those genes need spread.
But I'm sorry. If I'm out there and he walks in front of me, he's getting shot. I don't care at this point.
That'd be your biggest buck?
Inches wise, yeah, it may be. Which is sad because I've shot plenty of like 4 and 5 and 6-year-old deer, but they're scrubs, 140
scrubs.
Dude, I've shot like 125-inch like 5-year-old, like just.
I guess I don't know. I just think that's sick. 5-year-old mature deer.
Yeah, no, they're good deer, but like I'd
high scoring. I'd
like a high scoring one, and that's the dilemma, right? Do you pass the 100?
And he might be 190 or 200,
which I've done. I did famously on Bowhunt or Die, and the neighbor shot him the next year. So it's like I've been through this before. It's easy to say you would pass them, like when you already have a tag filled, right? So it's like, yeah, I already filled the tag. But like when you haven't filled your tag and you haven't shot a buck in 2 years, and a 160-inch 3-year-old walks in front of you, like, I'm sorry, dude. He'd look
cracked.
He'd look awful nice up on this wall.
As a Euro mount, though.
As a Euro mount.
You sicken me. Sickens me.
So let's talk about Clinton Fawcett before we leave.
Oh, geez.
Clinton killed an absolute mega giant. So here's another deer, though. That deer he had pictures of last year as a 3-year-old. Wasn't even really on the radar, to be honest. Like, he was a decent buck.
He never sent... Not that they send every buck in the WhatsApp by any means, but like,
sure.
Never saw that buck. Don't recognize
last
the
year.
Buck. Yeah.
It was just a nice 3-year-old. And this year,
what do you think he scored last year?
I don't know. What do you think? 140s?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Based on my vague remembrance of it, like 130, 140s probably.
Yeah, that deer absolutely just blows up into a Clinton. It took Clinton a while to figure out which deer it was. Because all of a sudden the summer comes, he starts getting pictures of a freaking double drop tine giant deer. And he's like, what deer is this? Because normally you're thinking in that like linear progression. Yeah, you expect that they're going to make a jump, but like, you're like, what deer did I have last year that was 160 that jumped to 200, right? You're not thinking what deer did I have that was 140 that jumped to 200 in a year. And after a while, he's like, wait, I think it's this deer. And he started comparing photos, and sure enough, like, I'm confident that was the deer. So, rightfully so. Clinton was kind of keeping it on the down low. I think the guys in the group text knew, but he wasn't like sharing it with everybody. He didn't want the pictures to get out and draw a bunch of attention. And I will say, dude, he laid down some of the most beautiful footage you may ever see in your life of this deer coming in, shoots him at 10 steps. I don't know, as he's making a rub on a tree. Like, it is as epic gets. So we are going to stay the course. We're gonna hold that footage until next summer so that we can do a proper job at telling the story. And similar to what we did with Matt Millard's hunt. So you will not see that hunt this fall in Bowhunt or Die. You're going to have to continue to watch me and Todd mostly suffer for the next couple months, and then we'll get to everybody else's hunts next year. So congrats to Clinton. Shout out to him. That deer went 205, and he is skull mounting it.
Really?
Yeah. We already talked about it the other day. Even before he shot it, he knew. Clinton and I are both very much on the same page. We're like, we might not get another deer shoulder mounted ever again in our lives. So Clinton's cabin looks awesome, dude, with all the skulls of all the deer that he's killed around. Like, dude, it looks pretty badass.
He doesn't shoulder mount deer?
He used to, like all of us. And then I think like all of us, he just got tired of like finding spots to put them and paying obscene amounts of money for them. It's just like, I forgot who I was talking
I'm at
about.
like a weird point. Like I look forward to paying this obscene amount of money to get something on my wall. But
I think what will change your opinion, because it's what changed my opinion, was when my dad passed away and I had all these mounts and I was like, what the hell am I going to do with these things? Like, what am I going to do with? I don't have room for all of them.
So you're thinking like when you pass away, what
sure.
are other people
what are my kids going to do with these things, dude? They're going to throw them in the garbage. It's just a deer. They don't give a shit about it. Right. I mean, it's fun for you to look at, I guess. But like, I don't know. I don't know that I take any more pleasure looking at a good shoulder mount than I do a nice skull. And Clinton's like, you know what I like about the skulls? He's like, if I want to just take it down and take it into work and show the guys, like I can. It's just, here you go. You can hold it. Yeah. You're not carrying a big, $1,200 shoulder mount around everywhere. So I
see both sides for sure, but I don't know. I mean,
I get it.
That's a giant deer. That's a giant deer. I mean, that one I would fight. I'd fight tooth and nail for Clinton. I'd be like, get a shoulder mount.
It's just too late.
But I know.
Sent me the.
Well, I saw you I saw you cut it head off or whatever. It's a dang shame. It's a shame, Brando.
Is it though?
I don't know, man. A 200-inch deer, not shoulder mounted to me, is like punching and killing many babies.
So that's the equivalent.
Human babies.
However, whatever hurts you more, honestly.
I would hope it would be humans.
That hurts.
Yeah, I don't know. I truly don't know. Like I look at, we got a couple really big deer that I'm chasing right now. And I don't mean big by like antler size. They're very nice deer, but just body wise, I have a couple just horses that we're after, like steers. And when I see a mount where it's just that big head, that Roman nose, that huge swollen neck, like I do enjoy that. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to plant my flag in the ground and say I will never get another shoulder mount, because I probably will, but it would have to be an awful special deer to me. Otherwise it's getting the skull mount.
Everything's special for me right now.
I got Joey's head sitting on my workbench at home. I'm going to finish getting the hide and everything off it tonight. Get the eyes and the brains and the tongue and the jaw and all that stuff out.
Just in time for Halloween?
Yeah. Then we're going to boil it up, pressure wash it, and soak it in bleach and get it all cleaned up and put it on the wall. Get another skull hooker and throw them up in line with the rest of them. Dude, Joey's 13 years old. This is his fourth buck he's killed. He's killed 4 bucks and 2 does at 13.
Is this his biggest, or was his last year bigger?
This one I think is bigger.
Yeah,
this one, like rack wise, it's definitely more massive.
Was this a 7 or an 8?
It's an 8-pointer.
Okay,
it's an 8-pointer. It's kind of a tight little 8-pointer, but it's cool. He's got all the bark in his little knobs there. So yeah, it was a cool deer. So, anyways, we've been talking way too long for today, but it's the rut. So I'm gonna hunt this afternoon. Oh, yeah. I got a saddle tree that I hunted once last year on an east wind. Again, east wind stands. So I'm just going to bop in there and get the old 1-sticks up the tree and see if something shows up. It's a little like 10 to 13 mile an hour east wind this afternoon, which is for me, like, it's pretty good. I like that. It's where it's consistent enough to where I know where the wind direction is. So I'm going to take tomorrow off. Looks like it's going to be real windy. But then, because we got
tomorrow off.
I'm taking tomorrow off of hunting, not hunting tomorrow. This time of year, it's you're taking. When I say I'm taking time off, I'm taking off from hunting. Understand. Otherwise, I'm just hunting every day. So what do we got? Wednesday, yeah, it's 17 mile an hour wind, but then the wind shifts around for Thursday. I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like, dude, the next couple days, like, are going to be just amazing. They're going to be amazing. I love the first day. So we've had this, like, 5 days of east winds in a row, essentially. It's going to flip around and go, like, north, northwest. I feel like that first day where you get a good wind switch when a front blows through, that's the kill day, Ben. Thursday is the kill day.
Probably try to slip out Friday after work. We'll see. Before
Halloween.
Before the time change happens, and then I won't be able to do it.
When I was growing up, my dad used to tell me Halloween was the best day of the year to hunt.
I guess I forgot that was Halloween.
Yeah. So good luck to everybody that's out there. Congratulations to everybody killing deer. So let's see. I've been on 3 track recovery drag throw in the truck jobs in the last week. One, Tom Alford killed a nice buck last week. And helped him get that. And then Joey's buck, and then Mike's buck last night. Mike's was the easiest of the bunch, though, because it died in the field and we drove our trucks right to it and just threw it. There was little to no dragging involved. So those are always the best ones. That's all we got. Let's get out of here. Cool. We'll see you next week. Todd will be back to tell us his adventures in Colorado.
How amazing it was.